Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a good day. Today is February 14th, which means it's Valentine's Day. Don't know what that means to each of you individually. That type of holiday tends to mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. It's not one of those universal happiness things. Right, guys? Okay. So we're getting started today with valuation and market analysis. So what are the four essential elements of value? Who knows? Who could tell me what the four essential elements of value are? What do you guys think? Mike says stud. Good. Okay, what does stud stand for? Who knows? Demand, scarcity, utility, and transferability. Good. Excellent. Good job. Who could tell me the different type of appraisal methods you need to know for your exam? What are the different type of methods of appraisal you need to know for your exam? And you guys know? So Tom, narrative is an appraisal report. That's a report. It's not an appraisal method. In case you guys don't know, the narrative report is the most comprehensive report. And it starts up top with the statement of purpose, and then it goes down to a fully detailed report of the property. Okay, the different types of appraisals are the cost replacement approach, the market data sales comparison approach, and the capitalization income approach. Good. When you guys do a gross rent multiplier, which one of those does it fall under? What do you guys think? So when you do the gross rent multiplier, which of those three does it fall under? Market data, cost replacement, or capitalization income? Income. Good. It's a method of finding out the income of the property. Which one of those would you use for your average home, like the home you guys live in right now? Which one would you use? Which of those approaches would you use for your property? The market data sales comparison. Good. What is the market data sales comparison approach? Who knows? What is the market data sales comparison approach? So when you compare properties of like kind. What is the big problem with that approach? Okay, so use comps to find the value of a house. What's the big problem with that approach? What's the problem with the market data sales comparison approach? One problem is adjusting for the differences because no houses are the same. And especially when you get into these rural neighborhoods, the houses tend to be a lot more different. So it gets extremely vague what the value is. So no houses are the same. Okay. Sometimes there's no houses at all if you're really far out in the middle of nowhere. Okay, so no two properties are alike. All right, and also, what if there's rapid economic change? So if there's rapid economic change, for example, you have a property that's 500 grand, you want to sell your property, that property at 500 grand, sold 500 grand 6 months ago, but a major company in your town left town within those 6 months. So that changes everything. So there's a lot of factors that can make it sensitive for things changing in that area. Okay, so if you are the only property like in town, like you're by yourself, what approach would you use? what approach would you use if the only property like yours, you can't use the comps? We just said you need things to compare it to. What if there's nothing to compare it to? Okay, so that'd be the cost replacement approach. What is the cost replacement approach? What is the cost replacement approach? Who knows? Just how much would it cost to replace it brand new? What kind of properties would you use the cost replacement approach for? What do you guys think? What kind of properties would you use the cost replacement approach? Hospital, library, things of that nature. Okay, police stations. These are, what are these called? Before I say it, what are these properties called? What are you guys describing to me? These are called special purpose properties. Special purpose properties, all right? Okay, these are called special purpose properties. They don't have to be public, like you could have a private hospital or a private school. It's the same type of thing. These are called special purpose properties. Karina says, what's the difference between the cost approach and the cost replacement approach? There is no difference. It's the same thing. Just one's the longer way to say it. Kind of like saying, what's the difference between the comparable approach and the market data sales comparison approach? It's the same thing. Okay, so we're talking about special purpose properties, okay, like libraries, police stations, schools. That's where you use the cost replacement approach. What is the problem with using the cost replacement approach? So it's basically how much would it cost to replace it. So if you replace it, it's going to be brand new because you're replacing it. Right, guys? So what's the problem with this approach? How many new libraries do you guys see in your community? Not a lot. The problem with this approach is it's how much it would cost to replace it brand new, but these buildings are not new. Very often, especially these type of buildings we're describing, are not new. They're old. Okay, and not only can you not get the exact replacement because you can't like give it the wear and tear it has. You can't give the exact replacement, but you also may not be able to replace the same functionality. For example, if it was built in like 1905 or 1910 or 1915, they use different materials, different ways of doing things. You can't reconstruct exactly the way it was built. I guess you could, but you guys get my point. There's a flaw in that system there. Does that make sense? So that's the big flaw with that approach. So it works much better with newer buildings, not old buildings. Okay. And last but not least, we have the income approach. When will we use the income approach? When will we use that? When do you use the income approach? When do you guys use the income approach? So the income approach is anything that has income. Okay, so basically the income approach converts income into value. Okay, so that approach doesn't care about what properties are nearby. It doesn't care how much you replace it. It says this property is able to bring in this much money, therefore has this much value. Everybody write this down. Converts income into value. Converts income into value. Everybody got that? Converts income into value. Okay, so the income approach is using things like rent amounts, income of a store, foot traffic, things of that nature. All right, now gross rent multiplier is a way of doing the income approach for basically rental properties. Because obviously the income approach could get very complicated. I mean, finding the value of a store could be difficult. So use the gross rent multiplier to simplify things. When is the income approach a problem? When is it difficult to use the income approach? What do you guys think? Okay, obviously when there's no income, there's no income. But the other thing is it's a very complicated process to use the income approach. That's why you have the gross rent multiplier for simple things. The major flaw of the income approach is it's highly complicated. Okay, just think about how difficult it is. We said turn income into value. If you think about it, it's not that simple. There's a lot of factors to determine that value based upon income. If you guys have done a business plan or profit and loss statements and things of that nature, there's a lot going into it. Whereas the market data approach, say that property's worth 500 grand, this one's worth 600 grand, mine must be worth about 550. It's pretty simple. Does that make sense? So the problem with the income approach is it's very complicated. Okay, and last but not least, we mentioned this. How do you do the gross rent multiplier? How do you do the gross rent multiplier? So how is the gross rent multiplier done? Price divided by rent. And now you guys are seeing why the gross rent multiplier exists, right? Because if you try doing the income approach in its full glory, it's very complicated. Okay. The gross rent multiplier, right, just says price divided by rent. Okay. Price divided by rent. It simplifies it, makes it much simpler. Why do you use the gross rent multiplier? Because when you're looking at somebody who wants a rental property, which are clients that you're going to have, you don't care about the value of the property. And you don't care about the rent amount. You care about how that value relates to the rent amount. Okay. You care about the relationship between the two. It's not about whether it's $100,000 property or $1 million property. It's about how much rent it brings in relation to that price. It's all about profit. Does that make sense? And that gross rent multiplier is a very simplified way to calculate that relationship. Everybody got that? Give me a thumbs up. Where's my thumbs up? Okay, so what you're seeing with all these approaches as we're discussing value and market analysis today is that there's different approaches, but it's a very inexact science. I mean, it is a very up in the air. That's why when people get mad at agents, they say, how come this agent said my home's worth 500 grand? You said it's worth 450, and the other guy says it's worth 550. What they don't understand, it's not an exact science. When you list a property, you're basically just putting up the price that you think will draw the best price for your seller. Okay, it's not like the exact science of the property. What is the true value of the property? So what is the value of the property? So we just said all those approaches, the things we went over, none of them really get the exact value of the property. And the tax assessor doesn't get it either. So what is the true value? What a willing buyer is willing to give to a willing seller. What somebody's willing to pay for and what the seller's willing to accept, what it sells for. Okay, Karina said if I want a rental example for $500,000, $3,000 rent. Okay, let's use Karina's example here, guys. So I want everybody to get in their calculator. I know you guys are looking like, ugh, gross math. Ugh. But bear with me here. You have a $500,000 property, okay? And it brings in $3,000 a month rent. What is the monthly gross rent multiplier? You could tell me what the monthly gross rent multiplier is. So $500,000 property and $3,000 a month rent. What is the monthly gross rent multiplier? 166. Good. Price divided by rent. What is the annual gross rent multiplier? What is the annual gross rent multiplier in that scenario? What is the annual gross rent multiplier? So $500,000 property brings in $3,000 a month rent. Okay, so what we should have done there, what should we have done? What do you guys think? We should have taken that 3,000, multiplied by 12, which would give you 36,000. Okay, and then 500,000 divided by 36,000. I don't have the calculator in front of me, but it looks like you guys got 13.8. So I'll trust you guys that that's the answer. But just, the process, you would multiply that 3,000 by 12, okay? And you would get 500,000 divided by 36,000. Okay, and you get your annual gross rent multiplier. Has everybody got that? This is basic 4th grade algebra, so we may have to, dust off some of those books or steal from our kids. It's one of those unfortunate scenarios you may want to get your kid to help you with some math. Ugh. Very often, they will give you 2 out of the 3 factors. So they may give you $500,000 and tell you the gross rent multiplier is 13, and then ask you how much is the rent. Okay? And hopefully we can work on the formula and how to do that. I do a video on that you guys could look for. But there's different things they may do. They may say the gross rent multiplier is 13. The rental amount is 3,000. How much is this property worth? You'll see it on everybody's exam. Not only would you guys see this on your exam, but you should know this for life. This is one of those things that when you're practicing real estate, you should know. No real estate agent worth their salt should not know how to do this. Did I do a double negative there? Every real estate agent who's worth their salt, who's any good, okay, knows how to do this. This is basic stuff when you get income properties. Okay, so every single person should be able to do this. This is one of my pet peeves where I say that real estate exam is not relevant what you're actually going to do. This is very relevant. Okay. Any questions? We got any questions? I spoke a lot today. I hope you guys don't mind. I just wanted to go over those concepts because they're really important. So I hope you guys don't mind. Did a lecture this morning. Okay, so let's do some questions. Guys, you should want a question about gross rent multipliers on your exam. It's super simple. Don't be afraid of it. Look up the video I did on it, okay? And you should get it right. So if you see a gross rent multiplier question on your exam, you should be like, no problem, plug in the numbers, get that right, move on to the next question, okay? So nobody should be afraid of that. I understand a lot of you guys hate math, but trust me, this is as simple as it gets. And it's something you're going to have to actually do. Look on the YouTube channel, Karina. Just type in PrepAgent gross rent multiplier. Okay, here we go. Which of the following is the best definition of a commercial acre? A, an acre after deducting parking. B, the building portion of an acre that deducts from streets, curbs, and sidewalks. C, an acre minus all residential property. D, an acre minus property has been sold. And the answer is B. How big is an acre? What do you guys think? How big is an acre? $42,560 square feet. So a commercial acre is that number minus streets, curbs, sidewalks, and all those other fun things. Ooh, 160 rods. You've been studying. Nice job. Which of the following types of depreciation would be most difficult to cure? A, economic obsolescence. B, functional obsolescence. C, physical deterioration. Or D, residential deterioration. And the answer is A, because that one is outside of your property lines, okay? Which means you don't really have control over it. It's not in your property. It's not within your jurisdiction. Remember, economic obsolescence is depreciation for reasons outside of the property line. In the capitalization method of appraisal, the most difficult step is to A, establish the gross income. B, establish the effective gross income. C, establish the net income. Or D, select capitalization rate. The answer is D, select a capitalization rate. Good. And you guys got big plans for Valentine's Day today? My Valentine's Day last year was I got a box of chocolates for this lady I was going to go out with. And when I was getting changed, trying to look all dapper and put on like my tie and my nice shirts, I wanted to look super nice. I came back, my dog's face was covered in chocolate, like all of it. It was like super nice chocolate. I was really excited about too. So needless to say, I had to take my dog to the veterinary clinic because I didn't want him to die from eating all that chocolate. As you guys know, if little dogs eat too much chocolate, they could die. So they had to pump his stomach in the veterinary clinic, and the pretty veterinarian wasn't there. It was me and this fat guy named Earl, who was like a vet tech. Thank you. I know I was a very poor thing. Poor me. There was like a pretty veterinarian who at least I could have like pretended to spend Valentine's Day with, but instead it was me and Earl. That was Valentine's Day last time. What happened to the date? Well, not with me anymore. I hope your guys' Valentine's Day is a little bit better than mine was. Is that true? If the little dog eats too much chocolate, they could like die, right, guys? So it was like a crisis. I was like freaking out. Okay, here we go. Which of the following is not a proper charge in determining net income for capitalization purposes? A, maintenance expenses. B, vacancy and collection losses. C, management agent fees, or D, mortgage interest? D, mortgage interest. Okay, we went over this before. Which of the following approaches converts income into value? A, capitalization approach, B, economic approach, C, cost approach, or D, market data approach? A, capitalization approach. When is the market data approach the least reliable? A, rapid economic change. B, all the other options would make this approach unreliable. C, inactive market. Or D, when there's nothing similar to the subject property. B, all the other options would make this approach unreliable. Appreciation would best be defined as A, increase of value over time, B, an increase over the land over time, C, increase of wealth over time, or D, increase of money over time. Increase of value over time. Good. Jane saw a property was $900,000. Jones found another property that had the same use design income in the next town over for $600,000. Because of the price, she purchased the home in the next town over. This would be the principle of A, progression, B, regression, C, substitution, or D, contribution. C, substitution. The general term value means A, the worth, usefulness of utility of an object to someone for some purpose, B, a good buy, C, the average use of function of an object to all people, or D, the function of an object. The worth, usefulness, utility of an object for some purpose. Any of you guys ever been to Italy? I'm planning a trip to Italy. If you could recommend a place to go in Italy, let me know. I want to go on a gondola. That's in Italy, right? I believe that's in Italy. Okay, here we go. Definitions of market value are least concerned with A, value in exchange, B, objective value, C, open market, D, market cost. Thank you guys for your recommendations. Portofino, Venice. Check it out. Okay, what do you guys think? Market cost. What they mean by that is the cost of what it is to build a property has nothing to do with the value. So I see a lot of you guys got that wrong. So we'll talk about this for a second. I mean, the value of your home is based on what? It's based on a lot of different things. But if I said to you, your value of property, and I just said to you, well, what'd you pay for it? You'd be like, it's none of your business. I said, no. What you paid for it, that's what it's worth. You'd be like, screw off. Absolutely not. It's worth whatever I can get in the open market. Right, guys? What you paid for, your initial cost, has no relevance to the value. Everybody got that? So the least concerning factor for value is how much it costs. Right? So if you buy something and try and sell it to me and I said, well, what'd you pay for it? You'd be like, yeah, it doesn't work like that. Beat it. Where in a standard narrative appraisal report will one likely find the type of value being estimated? A, the neighborhood analysis, B, the property description, C, the declaration of restrictions, or D, the statement of purpose. D, statement of purpose. Property should be valued at its highest and best use. If an appraiser is appraising a parcel which has a building on the land that is no asset, he should A, deduct the demolition cost from his appraisal, B, add the salvage value to his appraisal, C, establish the value by using the cost approach, or D, ignore the building in the appraisal. A, deduct the demolition cost from his appraisal. An appraiser is usually paid A, a fee based on the amount of time and effort, B, a fee agreed upon after the appraisal is completed, C, a standard fee agreed upon by the National Appraisal Association, or D, a fee based on a percentage of the appraised value. Answer is A. An appraiser uses improper methods to appraise a property for a government-backed loan may be guilty of A, a misdemeanor, B, a warning, C, violating real estate license law, or D, a felony. The answer is D, a felony. An appraiser's primary concern when analyzing residential property is A, operating and fixed expenses, B, square foot area, C, functional utility, or D, market and acceptability. What do you guys think? And the answer is D, marketability and acceptability. An appraiser's narrative appraisal report to a single-family residence probably wouldn't contain no reference to A, the appraiser's qualifications, B, the neighborhood amenities, C, a buyer's finance, or D, a special studio zone map. How you pay for the property has nothing to do with the value itself. That's why the answer is C. So even in the most comprehensive report, the buyer's financing is not the relative factor. So everybody get that? How you pay for it has no relevance to the value itself. All right, guys. Well, that's that for today. I hope you had a great day and enjoy your evening. Happy Valentine's Day for those of you guys who care about that stuff. To the rest of you guys, it's a Hallmark holiday and boo Valentine's Day. All right, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye.